Bankai Tensa Zangetsu. Okay, let's talk about this design. So I was right a little bit, sort of, kind of. I did prognosticate that the two swords would combine into one, and at first I was in doubt of whether he had another sword or not with his Bankai. But no, it seems like this is it. And you can kind of see like the black hollow sword is sort of in the inside now. At least that's what it looks like. And the white, all of this represents the or no, maybe it's the other way around, because the Quincy hunting knife is also black. Both of those Zangetsus are black, but the point is they've melded into one regardless. And the reason I say that this one is the hollow one is because if you take away the exterior, this kind of looks like the old Tensa Zangetsu, the thin, fast katana. And as you can see, like by the name, you got the chain here, which really kind of looks like it looks like that would be used like against you. If the chain weren't actually attached here, then I can see how Ichigo would be able to swing it around with the chain. But the way it's drawn on here, that it's like a loop, that really feels like someone could just grab onto it and rip the sword away from you. But regardless of that, I mean, I'm kind of mixed on the design. At least in this panel, it doesn't really look all that impressive. I can see why. Although one touch I do kind of like is the guard here. That's a neat touch. I feel like this would actually be kind of practical if it were on both sides as well. Like, it kind of looks like it's broken here already, which it's supposed to give it that rough look that Ichigo Zanpakuto has always looked in general. It's one of the reasons I never liked his original Bankai. It looked way too clean. And after a while, it just stopped being impressive. But I feel like with this one, my judgment is going to come when we actually get to see its powers. And fuck. God damn it, Kubo. Yeah, I'm going to have to turn the page. It gets broken instantly. Yuha is not fucking messing around. I'm so mixed about everything. Part of me wants to hate this entire chapter and its guts, but another part of me also kind of gets it, that Kubo wants us to feel this despair, this hopelessness. Like, he trolled us, basically. He wanted us to think that Ichigo's Bankai, his plot Kai, was gonna come in and fix everything, but nah, Yuha's not having any of it today. Although, okay, another thing I want to point out with its design, I mean, you're watching this review because you already you already read the chapter, but later the scale's kind of inconsistent. I feel like I would like this design of his Bankai a lot more if, okay, well here it looks sort of the same size, but I want it to be a little bit bigger than it actually appears to be. There's one panel in particular which it makes the sword out to be a lot bigger than it looked in that full spread. Alright, it's here. In this panel, just the broken part of the sword looks quite large. Like, look at the handle on that thing. It's about as big as most of Ichigo's body, and it's missing like a good fourth of its size. If it's actually this big, then I'm okay with the design, because it goes along with what I said in my Bankai theory video, that the true Bankai was going to be just a big ass sword, which is Ichigo's design. Like, if you add on the tip here, this looks like a two-handed weapon, and that was sort of my hope for the design of the new Bankai. Even in the previous page, like, let me see if I can go back. Even in this one, this looks a fair amount bigger. As you can see, the handle is still huge. Like, this is clearly a handle for a two-handed weapon, and if that's the case, then I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it. Let me go back to where it's like spread out. Page before that. Here, I feel like it kind of looks misleading just because it's off to the side. You don't really see how big it is in proportion to Ichigo's body, and his hand is like blocking the guard. In fact, the guard looks a lot. The handle looks way smaller here, in proportion to the blade, than it looks in the next page, the next few pages after that. Because here it almost looks like a one-handed weapon here, and I feel like that's why it doesn't look as impressive to people. But if it turns out that it's a little bit bigger than this, and it's actually like a two-hander, like how his original Shikai was and how his sealed state was, then I'm okay with it. Then I'm cool with it. And also, if he can detach this little chain here, if that's just a shot here, if Ichigo can manually take that off and actually use the chain, then alright, I am cool with that. But now, let's get to talking to what actually goes on in this chapter and all this fucking bullshit. I can understand Kubo going the direction of having Ichigo getting his ass handed to him as soon as he releases Bankai. Like, the whole breaking of it and how he established like how a broken Bankai can never be fixed the same way. And we were all led to believe that Ichigo was starting to get his momentum going, even though like last chapter, Yuha was still setting traps, he was still messing with Ichigo, it was looking bleak, but now he was supposed to catch up, and instead we get the complete opposite, and we get a whole bunch of bullshit that I'm just like, Kubo, you have written yourself into a corner once again. Oh my god. Man, look at this shit. Through the future, I broke it. This is also... Okay, this is actually kind of badass. I like this part of the chapter. He rips off the horn and throws it at him. So, Ichigo ain't got no hollow powers anymore. So does that mean he's going to use Quincy powers? I doubt it. I mean, it's Yuha. I don't think anything Quincy related will do anything to him. And it's like, someone needs to step in. This is a slaughter on Yukiora levels. But let's just... Yeah, Inoue tries to protect him with the Rika, but he gets hit anyway. So I think that's kind of... Oh man, that's so sad. Because I think that's Kubo's way of telling us, like, just nipping the idea in the bud of Orihime fixing things. I have no doubt that maybe she'll fix at least Ichigo's Bankai. I kind of hope so, because we literally didn't see anything it could do. And that's a huge part of like my final judgment on whether I like his Bankai or not. Is it just the same scheme as the old one? Or does it have... No, it has to have some sort of additional power. In fact, why can't he... If he has some sort of additional power, he could probably still use it. I would just be very disappointed if it's just the same old scheme of like, he gains speed and power, and that's it. It needs to have some sort of power, and we could still have... I mean, from what it looks like the Quincy blade... I mean, yeah, it did happen. The two blades melded together, so it could still... It could turn out that I'm even more right than I already am about his Bankai. He just hasn't had a chance to show off his abilities. But yeah, Kubo is just telling us right now, like, don't expect Orihime to be like the Deus Ex Machina that defeats Yuha. So I'm kind of glad that she's not going to be used as some sort of plot device to magically defeat Yuha. At least that's what I'm getting. That's the impression I get from what just transpired here. But then this shit happens. This is the panel that angers me the most. Because Kubo just says one thing in one chapter, and then he's like, oh, just kidding, it's actually this. So the Almighty is not just the power to see the future, but it is the power to transform the future. And I'm not gonna lie, I kind of thought of this back when, like 10 chapters ago, that maybe the Almighty was to transform the future, and it is a pretty OP ability, and that's why in the last couple chapters I was relieved to hear Yuha explain the whole thing about the grains of sand, and how he can see every possible outcome of the present. And while that is a pretty broken ass ability already, there's still a few ways to counter that. And see, I don't even know if there's any point of going into detail of how you can work around that ability, since that's not even... You can't even apply that anymore. One thing I was thinking of is just having Ichigo fire off attacks so powerful that it doesn't matter if you can see them or not. It doesn't matter if you can see them coming, they're going to hit you anyway, or it's going to do damage, or you can't block it. That's one way to get around it, just raw power, and that definitely fits Ichigo's style. But that's not a smart solution. Another solution I was thinking of to Yuha as well, what he explained in the last chapter, was simply having his sight being overwhelmed, with either just multiple people fighting him at once, or maybe Ichigo's Bankai speed can perhaps overwhelm Yuha by giving him like too many branches that he can't see all at the same time that Ichigo is attacking at lightning speeds. That's another way. Because I would have liked something like that, because it would still make the fight smart. He would still have to struggle to beat Yuha, because apart from his terrifying fucking powers, Yuha is he's just strong. He's like Aizen. It's not just his OP abilities, it's just that he's plain strong. And another solution to that previous power is perhaps having Orihime's Rika act as like a blind spot to Yuha's Almighty, and having Ichigo having the two of them eventually figure it out. Sort of like how the Almighty before couldn't see Mimihagi's future. Perhaps it would be like a good way of implementing Orihime without her being just like a solve-all. Like in the Lily Baro fight, the fucking, oh my god, I don't even want to talk about that. The god-splitting Zanpakuto. It wouldn't exactly be something like that, because Ichigo would still have to struggle to beat Yuha, and they would still have to coordinate in order to not be completely overwhelmed by the Almighty. But now with this, it's like all of the smart options to beat Yuha are now off the table, because he can literally transform the future. Which explains how he beat Ichibei so easily, and that was even before he had all of this shit going on. Oh my god. So now it's come to a point where Kubo has to conjure up some bullshit in order to counteract other bullshit that he's written in. The power to transform the future? How the fuck do you beat that? How do you beat that? And it concerns me, because at this point in the fight, we should have already come across the point, or maybe this chapter or the next one, where Yuha gets genuinely frustrated, or Ichigo and Orihime coordinate and find some way to counter out the Almighty. And there had to come a point where Yuha just said, alright, I'm done fucking around, I'm done playing, screw this Almighty stuff, and he breaks out Yamamoto's Bankai. And that would just be like a battle of raw power, basically, in which, again, Ichigo would still struggle. I would be satisfied with that, mostly because it's not a solve-all. Countering the Almighty does not mean beating Yuha, by no means. No. Fuck that. Yuha would still be a formidable enemy, especially with like the Mimihagi being absorbed in him, having Yamamoto's Bankai. Those two alone, like, Ichigo at this level would have a hard time competing with that, to say the least. Plus, it would make things on the other side of the battlefield, the thing with Gerard, that would look pretty bleak as well if Yuha activated Zanka no Tachi, because remember what happened last time with Toshiro? He's one of the strongest fighters right now, fighting Gerard. He would be incapacitated, essentially, if he wasn't already. So, regardless of the tone that Kubo was going for, like, either path that he could have taken would have led to a bleak future for Ichigo and the battle with Gerard. But now it's just like overkill. Like, really? He couldn't even get past this phase? The Almighty? The power to see the future? No, transform it? Oh no. Oh no, Kubo, what have you done? I'm having like PTSD flashbacks to Aizen. PTSD flashbacks to the end of Naruto. The end of, oh man, what's that shitty ass like fantasy series that I used to read when I was like in middle school? Aragon. Remember, I don't know if a lot of you have read that series, Galbatorix, how overpowered he was and how unprepared the protagonist was for him. This is what it feels like, it honestly does. And now, just like Christopher Paolini did, Kubo's gonna have to write something out of his ass to beat Yuha. And that upsets me, because if it were just, he had something good going on with what he explained last chapter. He could have come up with something smart to beat that, like what I explained with Ichigo perhaps coordinating with Orihime, or having Tensa Zangetsu overwhelm Yuha with speed. Neither of those routes are solve-alls. It's not like Lily Baro. It's not like the god splitting. It's not a no effort fucking. Ah man, I can't even talk now. I'm so frustrated with how this turned out. I'm not even as mad about Kubo cock blocking us with Tensa Zangetsu. It's just this shit, like right here. And then like him also cock blocking Orihime. That was also like, he's really trying to write himself into a corner here. And that's just frustrating. It really is. So at this point, the only other option I see is that this isn't the final battle of Yuha, which I guess that could be a possibility. Maybe the dad squad is out to Maybe the Dad Squad is there to get Uryu and... Fuck, oh no, Kuo, don't go this route. Maybe the Dad Squad is there to get Uryu and Ichigo out of there for some additional bullshit training. It's the Aizen arc all over again. Please don't do it. Kubo, I'm gonna place my faith in you one last time. I think you fucked up just with this page alone. If this page had not been a thing, maybe I could have been okay with the rest of it. Of Kubo setting up this tone of like, oh no, you're not out of the woods yet. I understand that. But then he adds this, and it's just overkill, to a point where he has to bullshit himself out of it. No, I can't roll with it, because if this isn't the final battle, then it's already guaranteed, basically, that the Dad Squad, Ryukin and Isshin, are just there to extract Uryu and Ichigo, and from there, I mean, we already know how that turned out last time. The last time the Dad Squad came in to rescue Ichigo from the final boss. I don't want to talk about this. It's upsetting the more I think about it. Especially from how I read it this morning. Because it actually, everything looked, this seemed okay to me this morning. But now that I'm starting to think about it, it seems less and less okay. Alright, well, I'm out of here. You can go ahead and like and sub if you enjoyed. Comment your theories on what's going to happen next. Really hoping that Kubo is just more creative than me and he has something special planned that's not stupid as hell like this. Like this. I don't even think Aizen can stand up to this at this point. It's crazy. Alright, I will see you guys next time.